If you want to pump your body and expand your mind, there's only one place to go. Mind Pump. Mind Pump with your hosts, Sal DiStefano, Adam Schaefer, and Justin Andrews.
In this episode of Mind Pump.
Yes.
For the first 48 minutes, we do our introductory conversation. Holy cow, we did a lot of topics. Look at that.
We went all over the board.
We went all over the board here.
A little bit scatterbrained.
You should just read them all
Yeah,
off.
well, first we talk about Skinny Dip's new dark chocolate, peppermint flavored almonds. They are absolutely delicious.
Yeah, I was eating those. Sorry, guys.
If you go to skinnydipped.com/mindpump and use the code mindpump, you'll get 20% off. Then we talk about the top 3 instruments you don't want to be caught playing. We have a little competition. Which one's the dorkiest and which one's the coolest?
Yeah.
Justin talks about his dog basically dominating him.
Yeah.
Justin is now the beta in the house.
Yeah.
Adam,
killing me.
Adam tells us the story about when his cousin tried to get him killed. We talk about slap boxing, bloody knuckles, thorping, and then we get into some like current event stuff. Apparently, there's an opioid antidote drug that's now 600% more expensive. I talk about this article that came out that showed us that lab-grown mini brains, you're hearing this right, were producing human-like brainwave patterns.
What is going on?
The end is near. Then we talked about how heart transplant recipients sometimes inherit the memories from their donor. Sounds like a scary movie.
Don't give me a psychopath.
Then we talk about mother's milk and how it's different for baby boys and baby girls and how it changes throughout the day. Doug suggests we give babies Organifi gold juice to help them sleep. I don't suggest that. It's not for
Probably
babies.
not a good idea,
but for adults.
A great mention.
And for the listeners, gold juice by Organifi is very relaxing and it does help you sleep better. That's my personal experience. If you go to Organifi.com/mindpump and use the code mindpump, you'll get 20% off. And then finally, we talk about the torment of being a genius. Poor Justin.
It's tough.
Then we get into the questions. The first question was, what's the furthest that we've ever regressed a client for a particular movement? So let's say
told him to go home.
Let's say somebody has extreme limitations. What are some ways we can regress somebody so we can start to train them to get better? Adam does mention Prime Pro. That is our correctional MAPS program, so it's good for people to improve mobility and correct aches and pains. You can go to mapsfitnessproducts.com if you want to check that out. The next question was, what are the biggest differences or changes in our style of personal training or how we train people in the beginning of our career versus the back half of our career? What are the mistakes we've made and how did we improve? The next question was, what are our best strategies for accountability? How do we help people stay accountable? How do we keep ourselves accountable? That's weird how I said that.
Yeah, sales.
Sales. It's a sale.
Buy.
It's just natural.
It's just a machine, dude.
I can't help it. Then the final question, we give our opinion on the YouTube fitness community. There's some good ones and there's some bad ones. Find out what we think when you listen to that part of this episode. Now I get to the part where I get to tell everybody that is 3 days left.
Yes.
Maps Anywhere, 50% off. The sale is ending in 3 days. If you want to check out the program, that was designed for people who don't want to work out in a gym, like to work out at home, like to work out in the park, like to work out at work or on the road. You just got to go to mapswhite.com.
In a train, in a plane, in a car.
And use the code WHITE50, WHITE, and the number 50 at checkout for your discount. And if you want to check out our other MAPS programs, just go to mapsfitnessproducts.com.
T-shirt time!
And it's t-shirt time.
Oh, it's my favorite time of the week.
A little light on the reviews. Maybe the Thanksgiving holiday got people sidetracked a bit.
Eating all them turkeys, you turkey.
They fell asleep.
So we got 2 review winners for iTunes. We got Caleb Jareel and Lathabad. Both of you are winners. And on Facebook, we have Natasha Morrison, Michelle Brooks, and Dale Crosser. All of you are winners. Send the name I just read to iTunes at mindpumpmedia.com. Even if you were on Facebook, it's at iTunes at mindpumpmedia.com. Send your shirt size, your shipping address, and we'll get that right out to you.
Yeah. Way to go, Dale!
This has to be the only time that we're all being
Electronic.
assholes eating on the podcast, right? I'm not going to eat another one just because of that.
It's the new flavor of the Skinny Dipped Almond.
Yeah.
What does the bag say, Doug?
It's
a
been
peppermint
revealed.
chocolate.
We called it.
What do you think
Did
about
we
it?
not?
Yeah.
So let's explain. So here's the thing about the flavor, because the thing about peppermint that I don't like is that you'll sometimes eat something that's just overwhelmingly peppermint.
It's very powerful.
This one's not.
So you don't like York?
Too much.
Yeah,
it's too much.
Most people that don't like a lot of peppermint don't like.
Yeah,
York.
I'm not down with the York peppermint patties.
I like
that
York.
much. They're okay.
You know
but
why I like Yorks? Because I can only have like 2 of them and I'm good. You
Like, like when you blow out, it's like cold.
you
it's
can't
like,
you can't sit down and eat a whole bag of Yorks.
That's a good That's a good point.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't do it.
Reese's peanut butter cups. You could eat a whole bag of those.
You could, right, Justin?
I have before.
Yeah.
They're dark chocolate peppermint.
So these skinny dipped ones are, you could taste the chocolate right away in the almond. Remember, the chocolate is not a huge layer. It's like a nice thin layer. But then it's got that pepperminty,
It's a hint.
essence.
It's like a infused.
It's got the essence of peppermint in it. So they do a good. I wonder who controls their flavoring.
I don't know, but you know what it.
You know what I mean?
It's
Is there like a flavored?
Okay, so
guy?
I was never a good bartender. You know, I'm going to throw that out there. I was not the greatest, but I knew when you hit that like perfect amount, you know, that recipe that where it just like you're like, okay, that wasn't too sweet, that wasn't too bitter, that wasn't it was like the right balance. And you know, they don't overpower and oversweeten and put too much like chocolate and all that, so they've nailed it, man.
What drink would you say you were known for? When people would come into your bar, what would they be like? Oh, you got to get this.
Like an old fashioned.
Oh, really?
Or mainly shots. I mean, like,
blowjobs.
Yeah, yeah, blowjobs. Sex on the beach.
Just gonna get the usual blowjob, please.
Actually, I was giving out
He's like-
oatmeal cookie shots. Like,
He's like, I'm cutting
crazy.
you off, sir. That's 5 today already.
Somebody from Bailey's came and gave us all these little tiny shooters, and like
My
they
lips
were
are
like,
tired.
They're like, get rid of this, and there was only like 2 different. My lips are tired. You son of a bitch! You snuck that one in on me. Yeah, yeah.
Do lips get tired?
Do they?
Ask Justin.
Actually,
I mean, they
Actually,
crack.
they
crack and bleed.
they do get tired. You know why I know this? I used to play the trumpet.
What?
I used to play the trumpet.
You are a horn blower.
And your lips
I
would
can
get
see
tired.
This, yeah.
Shut up, bro. You playing the saxophone.
He thought he was doing the sexy version of what you were doing.
This is okay.
What is the
hold on.
what is the order of instruments that you don't want to be proud of playing as you get older? Unless you're a badass. So if you're listening to this,
If you're a badass,
I'm gonna say
Right.
accordion. Like, you can't
hey.
listen.
Hey.
No, is that am I tying that into some heritage?
Yeah, accordion is
Well, I guess
is a time-
bagpipes are pretty annoying, but I love them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hey, flute has to be number 1.
Yeah.
unless you're a badass.
No,
What's
well,
that?
all
what's-
of them are.
No.
Let's agree that every
Badass
instrument.
flute player?
It doesn't matter.
Name one.
Jethro Tull. Boom, bitch. Silence.
I'm like kind of accepting that, but it's
No,
still
let's
a
agree
flute.
on. Let's agree on this. Okay. Any instrument, if you're a badass at it, it's cool.
Except for the triangle.
So let's just assume.
If you're a professional triangle player.
Unless you're calling people in for dinner.
Do you think there's actually a pro that does that?
Triangle?
Yeah, I feel like anybody who is like musically talented could just play the triangle.
Oh, 100%. That's why they give it to
Yeah.
the idiot kid, in class.
But, okay,
It's
you know
like
what's- you know
an
what's funny?
NBA player like never playing horse his whole entire life, but could he play the game? Like, yeah, you could probably get by playing horse.
We're gonna get an angry DM from a triangle player. I spent 10 years.
This got me into college.
Okay, so wow, look at that. Doug pulled up a
professional triangle player.
Nah, these are
Oh
jokes.
my
They have to
God,
be jokes.
no.
Yeah.
There's no way.
So okay.
All right.
We'll say like you are a subpar talent.
Okay.
Okay. What in the order? What is the worst? Top 3 worst instruments that you could be good at.
Tuba's got to be up there.
Yeah, well.
Flute is my number
It's
1.
just
I'm going to put
annoying.
I think everybody has a vote for their number 1. I'm going to say flute.
Flute's
for me.
got to be up there, especially for a guy, right? Because it's kind of
Yeah.
it's not a very masculine instrument.
No, it's
It's
not,
seemingly.
not at all. Yeah.
So flute's got to be up there. The
like
tuba's another one.
chimes, I mean, I don't know though, because that's considered
the cymbal?
percussive.
Oh,
So
I got it.
All the different percussive instruments, you kind of make noises.
I got it. The harp.
Oh, the harp.
Yeah.
Harp's kind of
I
dope.
don't know, man.
Harp's
I
kinda
don't know.
dope.
I've heard some
Bro,
people on the streets
how
jamming on the harp.
Dude,
What in the streets?
Yeah, when I was
Where the
over
fuck are you going
when
to
I was in
streets?
Ireland, and yeah, dude, they were going.
imagine being a single or bachelor too, like, and you bring a girl.
You
over
said subpar though. So you bring
off. All right.
you bring a girl over your house.
if you're like kind of okay,
and it's really bad.
Imagine you're like, hey, I'm gonna play your song. She's like, and she's thinking like, oh my God, that's so sexy. He's gonna play like the guitar or the piano.
You pull out the harp.
And it's a fucking big ass harp.
Yeah.
You're
rolling in.
Yeah.
I feel like she's already excited at that point. Like,
No,
it's game over.
I'm gonna
She
say-
sees you now. Say that exact same scenario, and you come out of your closet and you bust out your flute. She's not getting excited
That's
over
true,
that.
that's
She's
true.
The
Okay.
harp rolls in. You're
How
like,
about
oh,
this?
shit.
Yeah, what's gonna dry it up the quickest? I think a banjo. Yeah, like just because of the reference of ding 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 ding. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Banjos can be kind of. Remember the Devil Goes Down to Georgia? Isn't that a banjo?
That's a cool. That's a cool song.
I mean, I don't know.
And the fiddle.
That's a
you
moisture
know.
producer.
So sure, if you say so.
I like the dude. Okay, what's the most badass instruments?
Guitar.
Oh yeah, electric
Drums.
guitar.
Guitar and drums, I think, are cool.
I think at our age, it's the piano. I think if you're dating at our age,
no, dude.
and you could play the piano well, and you bring a woman over your house, and you play the piano really good,
That's such a nerdy thing to say.
I bet you I'm right.
No,
No.
I bet we'll do a poll.
I don't think
That's
so.
because we have a bunch of nerds that listen to us. You might be right.
You're just annoying. You're like that crooner guy.
You have to be the worst. You have to be the worst promoter of our fans are nerds.
It's cool to be a nerd now.
Okay, okay, that's a good save.
It is. Let's be honest.
No, but I used to play
Nerds rule the world now.
They do. That's true. I used to play the trumpet, and your lips do get tired. That was the whole point of this conversation.
Yeah.
You do find that your lips start to get a little tired. You can't pucker them like you could initially.
Oh my God, dude! Here's the combo right there.
What are you doing?
Black tie coffee with the peppermint chocolate almonds.
Yeah.
Take a couple of those
Add
almonds.
shot in there too. For
Oh
you.
man!
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty good.
Looking
I feel
out
it.
for you.
That's good stuff. Man, I don't know if I feel good about introducing everybody to the nicotine as a nootropic. I feel like Adam might have a problem.
He's coming in with the headaches already.
I fully commit to anything that I do.
Yeah. You're not a quitter.
I don't half-ass anything. I full-ass everything I do.
It's 100%.
Full ass.
It's
That's right.
all ass all the time.
That's right.
Justin, I want to hear you tell the story on the podcast about how you got punked by your dog. 'Cause I feel like your dog,
My dog just keeps punking me
he's
constantly.
like, he's alpha. You're the beta.
No, no, that is not what's happening. He's taking cheap shots
Bro,
when I'm not looking.
that's not a cheap shot. That is the most blatant. Like, tell a story.
Bro, okay. So I posted on my Instagram like the other day, just walk, because when I get home it gets really dark like really fast now because of the change of time, and so I have to get him out because he's crazy. He just like has way too much energy. He's going to destroy the house. So I take him out there. my oldest son comes with me and we go on this like nature hike, and we were able to go on this nature hike because they lit up this zipline course.
That was really cool. I saw that on your Insta story.
Yeah, it's a cool thing that they do just for the holidays, and so like it's really bright and it's really like a cool kind of experience. And they have like laser stuff going on in the forest, so it's like I don't know. I just I go on this walk, yeah, and all this stuff's going on, and so I'm trying to take a picture of. Excuse me, I'm trying to take a picture of it. And I'm looking up and I'm taking a picture, and my son also, we're all, kind of looking up at the bridge. And meanwhile, my dog's just kind of, like jockeying for position. I look down, he's squatted, he's hovering over my foot. He took the fattest shit right on my foot. And I was like, and I couldn't tell because it was really dark at first. And I'm like, what?
Bro, how can you debate that you are not the beta? You just got shit on by your dog, and there's no way.
Bro,
that is the ultimate.
A dog that's
Fuck you.
Adam, a dog that's feeling out a situation. Like,
Dude, he was circling and trying to find a place to shit, and I wasn't paying attention to him. So he shit on me.
What it was is he was in his mind. He was debating like, do I need to punk this guy? Because here's what a dog will do if they're kind of not sure if they're the beta, if they're the alpha, is they'll shit on your shoe when it's not on your foot.
No.
You know what I mean? If it's in the closet,
He fucking
shit
ran
on your
and hid.
while it was on.
He knew what he did.
He took a dump right on
Took
your
a
foot.
dump and ran and hid, dude.
Now, what was-
That's not fucking alpha.
What goes through your mind when you look down at your shoe? Are you like, what? Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck just
No,
happened?
I was like, I laughed. I was like, what, dude? Like, what?
That's the equivalent of getting slapped by another man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah, that's an open hand
Yeah,
slap.
he's not even punching you. He's just going to smack you.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
I told that story on here, didn't I? When my cousin got open hand slapped when we were in.
No, wait,
no.
did you?
Yeah, way like early episodes, I think, didn't I?
Yeah, I think you did. I want to hear it again though.
Yeah, there's nothing like seeing a guy get open hand slapped, dude. No, we were kids. We were in our early 20s. We were 22-ish, and I had and my cousin and I used to run around together a lot when we were kids. He lived in another town, like a neighboring town to where I grew up in high school, and he was a popular kid. I was a popular kid. We used to go to all the parties, both his town, my town. But he was the guy I've told stories about where we'd roll up to parties and always knew that if my cousin wasn't getting laid, that we were getting into a fight. Like, just for sure. So it was like Operation Get Travis Laid.
He's
so
that
he,
guy.
Yeah. If you think about it, it's actually
Let's make him happy.
It's actually a brilliant strategy. He actually
On his part, it is.
He got all you guys.
Everybody's like in cahoots trying to make it happen.
It was, man. When we used to do that, a bunch of us, when we get to a party, we'd be like, dude, find a chick for Travis and keep him happy because I want to have a good time tonight. I don't feel like getting in a fight.
It's like
right?
determines whether or not you have a good time.
All right. So just that's I tell that part of the story. It's not part of the actual story, but that's kind of gives you an idea of how my cousin was. And when we were kids, we grew up in, I say we were popular. Well, we grew up in a small town. It's not hard to be popular when there's 10 people in your school. So there was like, if their shit went down, like I think the worst I ever got hit with was a skateboard. Like, it's always you're fighting with your hands. Like, no knives, no one's getting shot. Like, we live in a farm town, you know what I'm saying? Like, you call each other names, you don't like each other, you push each other first, and then fighting and rolling around.
You might get hit by some hay or something.
Right. So we grew up like this. That's just you settle your shit. There's no fear at all. I moved to the Bay Area, and it was a culture shock for me. And he's still from that area, and he's in town visiting me when we're like 22 years old, and I take him out to downtown San Jose. And
That's a whole different world.
Oh, dude,
man.
On a Friday night, right? We're going out to the clubs, and I don't remember what club we were at back then.
Tunes.
And
tunes.
Yeah, probably actually. I think that was one of the first ones we went to, I think. And then so we drink all night, and I met up with two girls, and we're leaving the place at like 2:30, and both these girls are like paying all the attention to me and none to my cousin. And we're walking home, and he's drunk, and we're heading back to my place, and everybody that we walk by, he's saying something, talking shit to him, just because he's drunk, and he's just everybody. Just he'll pick someone will walk by and he'll find something on their shirt, make fun of him as he walks by. He's saying racist shit.
My God.
Yeah. And I'm just like
San Jose.
Yeah, and I'm like cringing and my cousin was the type of person too. Like if I told him to stop it or do it that, he would do it more. So I'm just kind of like praying, like, please, dude, just relax, and trying to distract him by talking to him and stuff. But he's in his mood. And we walk past these two brothers that are like 275, fucking wearing overalls, passing out their CD to their like rap single that they had done. They're trying to hustle. They're trying to get out there and get people to know who they are, and they're selling them for $10 a pop to all the kids that are coming out of the clubs afterwards, right? And these dudes probably 4 or 5 years on us, maybe more, but big as fuck. Look like they were linemen. And my cousin walks by them and just grabs the CD out of their hand and keeps walking. And dude's like, yo, hey, you got to pay for that. And the guy comes running up behind us, and then we stop. And I'm like, Travis, give him the CD. And Travis is looking down at it, and he's reading the back of it. And he's like, why would I pay for this shit? And I'm like, oh, God, dude. And the dude's like,
here we go.
Yeah, and I'm like, please, God, please no. Like, we're going to get killed. There's 100% no doubt. Like, my cousin was tough as nails, dude. We got in a lot of fights. He's not a big guy, but for sure the guy I would want with me anytime we got into something because he's just crazy and ruthless. But this is not one of these. We're for sure getting our asses whooped. Like, we've fought some big guys, we've won some fights, but there's size matters sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Size matters when they're 3 times your size.
It's
right?
like at this moment the numbers and physics
Brock
are going through your head.
Lesnar size.
Yeah.
Totally.
99 out of 100 times we get our asses kicked.
Totally. So he says that to him. The dude kind of steps up close, leans down to talk to the little man, and he goes, "Listen, dude, I'm out here trying to promote myself, doing my thing. Like, if I wasn't trying to hustle and do my business, I'd wipe your ass up and down this street right now." And he's give me my CD back. And my cousin steps closer to him and gets his face like right up against his face, and he says, "Do something." And I went, "Oh my God, dude." Dude cocks back. He like looks to his left, looks to his right, just to probably see if there's cops or anybody around. And he straight cocks back, open hand, slaps my cousin enough to knock him down on the ground and open up his mouth bleeding. And my cousin pops up to go after him right away. And I just grab my cousin, pulling on him, apologizing, like just trying to get him out. He's trying to fight me to get through so he can fight him. And I'm like, Travis, you're gonna get me killed, dude. Like literally.
That's the worst.
Yeah, but that was the first time that I'd ever seen somebody get open hand slapped, and I had front row seats to it, and it was one of the scariest nights of my life.
Wasn't that like Boss Rutan's like one of his moves?
Well, that's because he fought in pancreas in Japan, where the rules were you couldn't hit each other in the face with a closed hand. But he got so good at hitting people with his open hand, he knocked people out.
With that, right? Yeah, that was like his move.
He laid my cousin out,
bro.
You would have thought that it was a closed fight.
Have you seen the Russian slap fight championships?
Oh yeah, you showed me that, dude. That's so crazy.
You know how they do it? They stand across from each other and they take turns slapping each other as hard as they can.
As hard as they can.
They literally take turns
in the face,
like hard as they can. Boom, and then another guy, then the next guy, boom, and they go back and forth.
Their hand hurts. It's like
until someone gets knocked out or gives up.
Now we played this game when we were kids in middle school.
Yeah,
it was called Shoulders.
And you just hit someone in the shoulders.
Yeah, you do the same thing, but you could sock a dude in the shoulder, and you stand side to side. This is the type of games you played as a boy growing up.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that today?
I'm pretty sure we even got in slap boxing. Like, we did that too.
We slap box.
Oh,
100%. This is like 6th grade, dude.
Yeah.
6th grade.
That's the kind of shit
and you just take turns wailing on each other's shoulder, one after another, back and forth, until finally one guy goes, okay, that's enough, no more.
Here's a slapping contest. Look at this. This is in 2018, so this is recent. They blast each other. So there's these big. Why would they do that?
I don't know.
Here's a. Yeah. Oh, see, he's about to get knocked out.
He's like, oh, I felt that. Look at his eye.
Oh, watch this big guy. Watch. Baya!
Oh man.
Yeah. That's Russia for you.
Yeah.
Did he get disqualified for poking him in the eye a little bit? Look like.
That's weak.
Yeah.
He's so.
Yeah. We used to, dude.
It's a real thing. Look at there's like an audience and stuff.
Well, wouldn't you want to watch this?
I guess let's try it.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be kind of funny.
We used to do shit like this all the time. We used to play. You guys remember the game Bloody Knuckles?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Of course.
Where we just blast each other in the hands.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to come home and my hands look like what do they look like? Mitts.
Yeah.
Because my hand would get so swollen.
Yeah.
Did you ever get really good at thorping?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Dude.
What is
I
that?
wasn't a Thorpe. That's where you hit someone.
Is that where you dress up in costumes and you run around like medieval people?
No, you like you hold out your forearm and you like smack. I got so good at it to where like I would smack somebody's forearm with my fingers and it would like leave like indentures. In their forearm.
What's this one?
That one, I think that's thorping too. I'm not sure.
Oh, this is thorping.
Yeah, it's like both. Yeah.
This is before the internet, by the way.
Yeah.
So this spread naturally.
You brought this up one time on the show, and I actually had never thought about that before.
Think about that. Like, how did everybody... the example
how fascinating is that?
Well, the example we used was, how did everybody know to blow in the Nintendo cartridge? Why was that a universal thing?
That spread? I think it's just kids at school talked about it, right?
I think kids just passed it around, and this is just how... There was no internet.
The way, what's funny, too, is that I remember as a kid, like, everybody had Nintendo, right, back then. Mm-hmm. And... The way I remember learning was like one person had one technique, another person had, and you like started combining like the things. Like
I tried the eraser approach.
Oh, shit, I never did that.
Oh, dude, you do the eraser on both sides of the the chip, and then you blow after that, and that sometimes worked, sometimes it didn't work.
The one that worked for me was instead of blowing in it,
you
yes,
yeah.
What the hell?
You go.
I didn't know this. Yeah,
and then you wedge it in.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I don't know where I didn't read that somewhere. I didn't.
Sometimes you push up and down like 10 times, like,
and then it would go inside.
Yes.
Jesus, this is so weird.
Yeah. Now everything just automatically works.
Now we still see examples of this today, right? It just spreads a million times faster. Like, remember how stupid the Tide Pod thing was? Like
geez.
the reason why something that stupid could spread is because it can move so fast these days. All it takes is 100 of these stupid kids to think it's
we brought that up.
idea.
It's a lot like when everybody's trying to get everybody to like pass out, and they like push on their chest really hard.
I did
that's
that.
like dumb shit like you did as a
remember
kid.
that. I do remember
I
that.
did that. We did it differently though. What we would do don't try this, okay? If you're listening, don't be an
please
idiot.
don't.
But you would hold your breath and then you'd squeeze the sides of your neck, which is your carotid. Basically, you're choking yourself out without realizing it.
Yeah.
And you would pass out.
I remember
And
that.
it was like a thrill because you pass out and you'd be like, oh my God. And you wake up and be like, was I out? How long was I out for? I had a dream the whole thing. They'd be like, oh, you're only out for 2 seconds. And you would do this with your friends.
You know what else?
This is why I know testosterone is basically a slow-acting poison.
It's trying to kill us.
It makes you do stupid shit.
Oh, we did so many dumb things.
Absolutely.
Do you guys think? Well, you have older kids, so
Yeah.
do you think that your boy is creeping up on that age where this stupid stuff is coming? Do you think it's inevitable? Like, how you think you did so many stupid things? He has to be doing some stupid stuff, or going to be doing stupid stuff.
You know what? That's a good question.
Think about it. We just named
they might
between knuckles, slap boxing, to all the stupid shit we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
We did all those. The likelihood he's not doing a few of those stupid things or like things that are stupid.
I don't know if kids even do those kinds of things anymore.
Yeah, or if it stays underground and doesn't just go on YouTube right away.
Yeah, or I think maybe this dumb shit they do now is like, I don't know, maybe do something stupid on the computer.
I feel like if I was a kid, like the thing would be to have 2 social accounts on everything always. You have your one that your parents think is your
you have the
life,
fake one.
The shadow,
and then you have the private one that doesn't have a picture of you, that has some symbol or code
Only
that
your friends see
only
it,
the real type,
yeah.
only the homies know, and that's where all the inappropriate talk, crazy shit is going down because you don't want mom. Because forever, that's never changed. Trying to hide from mom and dad.
Yeah.
That's I don't care how good your kid is, how smart he is, how old, how young.
Well, I bet
how
you
long.
that's where all these trolls, like having these other accounts of just trolling, like that's part of the
Right.
fun for kids is like, I can fuck with and be anonymous.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Right. For all you guys know, one of your biggest haters on Instagram might be one of your
some little
kids.
kid.
It's probably your own kid.
It's your own
He's
kid.
every time you're going to start to put this together.
I'll put a
every
roof
time,
over your head.
Every time you discipline him, like the next day you get this fucking crazy hate on Instagram. All of a sudden, you little dick. Sal, you're a little dick.
yeah,
little dick.
Someone makes a meme out of you.
Oh,
The
man.
hell? Yeah, we'll see about that. That scares me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is
You didn't think about that,
That's
have
a
you?
terrible thought.
Well, what scares me is that when I start thinking about myself as a teen, and I was a relatively good kid, so that's what really scares me. Is I was a relatively good kid, but the shit
Yeah.
that I used to do that my parents didn't know about was terrible,
Yeah.
right? And I was a good kid. The bad kids did even worse shit. So I think to myself like, oh man, and my parents, I'm sure, were fully fooled. I'm sure they were completely.
Of course.
They thought like, oh, my kid, he's a good boy.
So
he doesn't do anything.
Your
He
boy,
doesn't- he
your
doesn't
boy's
smoke.
12 or 13.
13.
He's 13. Yeah, dude, this is the age.
It's starting to kick in, right?
13 to 16, man.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, I was running amok, and I'm like you. I'm in church 3 times a week. I'm a good kid. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't have sex. I didn't do drugs. So in my school, if you didn't have sex or you weren't doing drugs, you were a good kid. You were a goody goody. You know, I for sure.
You did everything but sex, though. Let's be honest.
I did,
Yeah.
but not till later.
Didn't
Like
Every kind of butt sex.
stop.
sophomore year. Sophomore year is when I
So before you were how old were you when you made out with a girl for the first time?
6th, 7th grade.
Oh, okay, well that's normal.
Yeah,
That's normal.
Yeah. Those are
Justin was in 3rd grade, I think you
Yeah,
said.
it was. It was a kiss. It wasn't a makeout.
she was in 3rd grade.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
terrible.
Hey, I wasn't 18 yet. So,
no. Did you? Oh, even worse.
yeah.
Even
I was
worse.
just going with the joke.
No, didn't you say you like made out like
Yeah,
full
it
on
was-
made out when you were like in 5th or
It
something
was
like that?
4th grade. Yeah, it was actually
4th grade?
4th grade.
Do you even
but it
know
was
how to make out?
No, I didn't know what I was doing. It was a
You're just,
dare.
you're just
It was
thinking-
kind of a dare, but I wanted to do it because I was attracted to the girl. And it was like this nerve-wracking experience because it was like how you split and divide into 2 different camps, like her friends and then my friends, and they're trying to hype me up to do it. And then I was just like all this pressure. And then after one of our classes and everybody's getting on the bus, like she was walking down that ramp from those trailer, classes. And she's like, okay. And we kind of like agreed that we were going to do it. It was like this whole formal thing. We were going to agree to do it. And then we started kissing, and then I was like, okay, let's see what's going on here. And it was cool. And then the teacher came out and was like, hey, and like broke us up, and then ended up like talking to her mom about it. And then like totally cock blocked.
Did your
Yeah, 100%.
the teacher?
Yeah.
Did your parents find out?
I don't think they did. No, No, they didn't know. But what would they care? It was just like kissed.
When I was 12, because you're right, Adam, right around 12 or 13 is when this shit starts to hit the fan. Mm-hmm. And when I was 12, I went to Italy to visit family. And now the kids over there, I remembered, were a good 4 or 5 years ahead because you know what it was? My family in Sicily, not well off at all. So we'll just say that they were, poor. It's Sicily, and the kids are just out. So when you're 12 in America, even when we were kids, you weren't really going out a whole lot by yourself. You kind of were, but not that much. Maybe the mall or whatever. In Sicily, you were out on the streets, and you were gone, and you could go out as late as you want, and everybody was cool with it. So I was going out with my cousins, and they were just the shit that they were showing me. Huh. And then when you go to the beach in Sicily, sometimes women are topless. I had never seen a topless woman in my life.
Like
and I was 12 years
explodes.
old. Oh, and let me tell you, man, that's terrible. You have to stay in the ocean because you have a bathing suit on.
I can't imagine.
Oh, dude, there was this woman who was topless, and she had her 2 kids with her, but she was obviously, it was boobs, in real life. I'd never seen boobs before.
Ones.
Yeah, and so, you hit it right on there.
Yeah, dude, when you see huge boobs for the first time, it's like, it's fucking mind-blowing.
Yeah. I remember I was in the water, and she's next to me, and I'm just like, oh. And then my mom's like, Sal, come on, we're going to eat lunch. Come on in. And I'm like, oh, shit, I can't. I got to stay in the water.
I'm going to swim a little bit longer.
I can't. And the water's warm, so it's not helping me. Yeah. So it was a bad situation. Dude, I got a couple articles I want to share with you guys. It's kind of cool.
I had something to ask you if you read the article on the opioid thing.
No, what's going on?
Yeah, they had they actually raised, I think it was like 10x. Let me see. I wanted to ask you. I thought for sure you would have read this already by now. Some drug company raised the price of the life-saving opioid overdose antidote more than 600%.
Really?
Yeah, as the nation is struggling with a rising number of opioids. Yeah, help me out here. Opioid. I can't.
I don't want to.
I know.
You know what it is?
Opioid.
You've trained us to just go with your pronunciation.
Well, no. Now what happens now?
It's fucked up in your head.
Yeah, you said it 10 times. I don't know if I can.
That's it.
Yeah, everybody knows the fuck I'm trying to say.
Yeah, opioid.
Opioid.
See, now I'm fucked. That's a weird word.
It is a weird word.
Opioid.
Doesn't roll off the tongue. Anyway,
it's kind of dorky, Opioid.
They increased the price of it by 600%. How fucked up is that, dude?
Well,
right when we're in the, it's just a hustle. It's like,
it is. But
it's at a.
It's because insurance companies will pay it. That's what it is. If there was no insurance companies and people had to pay this shit, they wouldn't be able to sell it for that much more. It's a market, so they're going to charge as much as they can, or as much as consumers are willing to pay. And if insurance covers it, well, that totally raises the price.
Yeah. The point is, it's a dirty hustle,
of course,
and the government's involved with it.
Oh yeah.
Is it true that pharmaceutical companies had like 2 lobbyists per like senator or like rep? Like,
oh, bro, you know how many you have lobbyists in Washington? There's so many.
It's just like crazy, right? Like
absolutely,
they're getting so much representation that they had like it was like a 2-to-1 ratio or something like that.
Oh, well, like when they ban, they try and make CBD illegal. But they'll allow pharmaceutical companies to sell CBD.
Yeah.
But it's fully illegal, even though it's like one of the safest possible things that you can take. There's like almost no way to overdose on it. Or whatever.
That whole process infuriates me.
That was the
whole lobbyist stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. I got one for you. That's a little. I want to see what your guys' reaction is to this. So I'm just going to read the title.
Okay.
Okay. And no, this is and by the way, I'm going to preface this by saying this is a real article. I'm not making this up. Okay.
It's not from The Onion or anything.
No, this is real.
All right.
Lab-grown mini brains spontaneously produced human-like brainwaves for the first time.
What? Mini brains?
Yeah, so scientists took stem cells and created mini brains. These are basically neurons and stuff that are super primitive brains, but they're based off of human stem cells. And they measured that they're now producing human-like brain waves. This is in a laboratory.
So we're creating leprechauns now. Is that what's going on?
Bro,
what the fuck is going on?
Bro, what are we doing? We're producing little brains in the lab. Now I know what it is. It's not a brain. It's like
right. It's like tissue.
Yeah, but still, it's picking up brain waves. What if it's a consciousness? Like, what if what if this brain is developed? And it's
creepy
like,
thought.
And it's like, where am I? And it's in a lab.
Well, I heard somewhere else too that like they've already had a successful head transplant with a monkey.
Where they take the actual head and move it to another monkey?
They have a head and put it on another body. Like that's already been a successful practice.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
How weird would that
I know,
be?
right? I didn't know that. I was like, what? Like Frankenstein, like type shit.
Crazy.
That is crazy. What if you if you could transplant your head on someone else, who would you do it with?
That's a logical question. Oh man,
Like the best athlete in the
I'm gonna
world.
have to think about that one. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It'd be like the best athlete of all time.
Totally.
Thor.
Totally.
Yeah, Justin would be Thor.
Yes. Yeah, my wife already fantasized about him. You know, might as well go all in. You know, I just need the hair and I got his body.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, that'd be kind of weird. You wake up and you're in another body.
Yeah.
Oh, this is weird.
Yeah. Ooh, look at this thing.
There's been these weird I've read these articles where people will get
That's the future for fat people, dude.
Right.
Just get hella fat and
Head
change it
transplant.
out for a skinny one. Like,
Yeah.
you still have a fat face. though.
ride this fucking body almost to the grave and then be like, I'm out. Give me a new one.
Yeah, then your face doesn't match.
There's another one.
I've read articles where people have gotten heart transplants and stuff, and then have had weird, like their personalities would change, or they've had almost like memories from the person whose heart they took.
Right. I've heard
Have you heard about this?
Yes.
How weird is that?
Yeah.
Because there's this theory that cells store some type of memory or information.
And they've stressed too, like with fascia, that's like people have claimed that you store memories somehow within that tissue.
It kind of makes sense, and then the other
you
side
guys-
of me is like, get out of here.
Have you guys ever heard of the movie Shattered? Doug, Google Shattered. It's an old fucking movie.
No, what's it about?
Like a kid. The guy gets in a car accident, and he wakes up from this coma, and he's like, he thinks he's himself, but he's somebody else. They put somebody else's face on him, and it fucks up all his memories, and he starts having like
It's like Quantum Leap, or what was that show?
Oh, it's Pierce Brosnan. Brosnan?
what year is that?
2007.
I thought it was older than that.
Bro, it's 11 years
that's
old.
old. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all,
How old is
it's
that?
all grainy.
It's
No, it's got to be something else.
maybe you're thinking of a different movie.
Yeah, maybe it's a different name. Our form will someone.
Oh, Shattered,
There you go,
1991.
1991. Yeah,
Click on that
it's
one.
old like that.
Let's see.
Yes.
Oh, is that it right there?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Interesting. After a horrific car wreck leaves him an amnesiac, a man slowly begins to unravel his shocking past. I feel like that's the same plot in several movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they wake up and they're like,
Well, this is 91. This is one of the
What
first.
did I do?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Put it on your list.
Very cool. So I have another article to
Okay.
share with you guys.
But along that like train of thought, though, there was another breakthrough in terms of like transplants. So like facial transplant.
Where you just get someone else's face?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw
Now,
it.
okay, but let's throw out and speculate like how problematic that is. Think about if you're the CIA or KGB or whatever, or somebody's like done something and now they can just take your face and put it on somebody else.
Don't you?
Oh, wow, look at that.
And we also saw the John Travolta movie.
There's whole articles on this. Can an organ transplant change a recipient's personality? Cell memory theory affirms yes. This is in Medical Daily. So this is actually something that they've studied, that you can actually, gain some essence of the person from the body part or whatever that you've moved over.
Yeah.
This is fascinating.
Like some kind of genetic transfer there.
And then you've got the weird Illuminatis that are, getting like the blood of young people to try to get their youth,
Oh, that's right.
Fucking creepy and weird.
So
We're doing
you
some
think the
weird stuff
future's
right
going to be
now.
like where you can print on whatever face and body you want? I'm not happy with my nose. I'm not happy with my
I think why would you do that when you could just plug into another reality? You wouldn't even need to change anything.
There's going to be this weird divide between organic and inorganic, right? At some point.
It'd be like two gangs.
Yeah.
We're the
No,
organics.
it's going to be the plugged and
Or
plugged
the
in.
hybrid.
It's going to be plugged and plugged in,
or the
right?
genetically
Unplugged and plugged in.
the genetically modified versus the non, and you'd know right away because you'd see someone and you're like, well, you're kind of short and you have crooked teeth. You must be real, organic.
Yeah.
You must be non-GMO.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Non-GMO. Yeah.
So check this out. This article blew me away, and it's an older article. So I've never heard of this before. But apparently, there's studies that show that baby boys and baby girls receive different nutrients in breast milk.
Really?
So, yeah, they found that if a mother has a girl, the milk will be a little bit different, and if she has a boy, it's a little bit different. How wild
The
is
human
that?
body is so complex.
Yeah, that it's just the level of fat, proteins, vitamins, sugars, minerals, and hormones will vary depending on the sex of the child.
Wow.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because a growing male or a growing female are going to probably have different,
different hormones.
maybe different demands and stuff.
Demands, yeah.
But how rad is that? And that, this is like,
That's what we're just finding out now. Then we find out how important it's going to be for them to have that milk growing up. You know?
oh, well, we know that now.
Right.
We know it's very important. And so the reason why this is important is because scientists are now saying, okay, maybe we should create formula, kind of like this, where it's for boys and one that's for girls. It's kind of interesting, right? I think what we're going to discover too is that the whole birthing process is important for the child, and not just from a what's it called, microbiome standpoint and all that, but literally from the kind of hormones that are released.
There's some. I heard somewhere talking about how like even the pressure of going through the canal like it helps to form the brain in some way too, like more malleable or something.
I don't know. I mean, because there's all these different chemicals and hormones that are released that help with bonding. There's some studies that show that women that have natural childbirth have lower rates of postpartum, have or easier time breastfeeding, because these chemicals and stuff that are released during that process, obviously part of the evolutionary process, right?
Who were we just talking to that was talking about that was the first time I'd ever heard this, that I didn't even know that the mother can produce the milk changes based off of when the feeding time is. So if it's like coming out at nighttime versus coming out in the
I
morning.
didn't know that. That's weird.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, to help the baby sleep at night. So there's like if you
Like more colostrum.
So let's say you are you pump and you get out 4 or 5 bottles and you get it out in like the morning time and you feed the baby at nighttime. A lot of times the baby will have a hard time sleeping.
Oh shit, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Crazy, right?
Everything we try to do that's opposite of nature,
right?
We end up finding that's not the right way to do it.
I thought you guys were with me when someone was dropping this on me. I never heard that before.
That makes perfect sense.
It does make
Fucking
sense.
Because
fascinating,
nighttime milk would probably help the baby sleep more. And the milk that you produce throughout the day, I'm sure some of it's going to have more of some nutrients, some of it will have less nutrients.
Yeah.
Because the way it was in the past was that Doug says, give the baby gold juice.
We need an Organifi commercial.
Yeah.
Give that baby some fucking gold juice.
Don't give your baby
Put him right to bed.
Don't give your baby gold juice.
No.
Although it's
gold juice is good for adults.
Yeah, that's a great Organifi commercial right there.
Yeah,
Right?
it's not for
Organifi
babies.
is so safe. You could give it to your baby, but we don't recommend it.
No. It's for adults. It does make you fall asleep, by the way. That is very true.
Yeah.
But I mean, the more you move away from nature, because the way it was for most of human civilization, when a mother had a child, that baby was glued to her for a while. Like she would strap the baby. If you watch modern hunter-gatherers, they strap the baby on
all day long,
and the mom works and does shit, and then the baby is close to the breast. So when the baby wants to eat, it just reaches up and eats.
Right.
Which is more ideal for the baby, because then it's like when it's hungry, it just eats. Yeah.
It is. How crazy is that, though?
Yeah.
That's pretty wild, dude. I'm glad you shared that with us.
That's cool.
I thought you, for some reason, I thought you told me, or it was somebody who was with all of us. Yeah.
No, that makes perfect. I'm gonna look that up.
I know even
processes.
I got my two, but it must have been my other best friends. That right, we were all together, and they had the 2 kids they just had. Right, so they have a 6-month-old, and a 3-month-old. So of course, baby talk is all we talk about these days when we all get together, and so. That was some of the latest knowledge I heard. It must have been them that I heard it from them.
You're gonna be giving Katrina like creatine, protein powder.
Dude, I would be. I'm almost scared to be a father because of all the information that I have in my brain now.
Too much.
It's almost too much, right?
To where I almost shut it off.
Yeah, right. I think that would be. I'm grateful for it. I would never take it back. But there's I know I'm already prepared for the negative side of it, right? Of like it's going to cause me. I already catch myself with it, like talking to Katrina about certain things.
Are you going to be one of those weird parents? We're going to come to your house and it's going to be like,
don't be a helicopter.
Turn off
parent.
your phone, please.
I'll never forgive you.
Yeah, can you wash your hands? Put on a hairnet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why is your whole house covered in foam? Oh, it's safe. We don't want that. But don't worry, it's organic foam.
It's organic foam.
Yeah, from natural latex. So
if they lick it, they'll be okay.
Yeah, they'll be fine. It's edible.
No problem.
You'll be one of those weird parents.
Yeah.
No, it's it definitely can scare the shit out of you. But it's funny because one generation ago, people were smoking while they were pregnant, and what I mean, drinking and. Yeah. My older cousin got delivered in Sicily, and the doctor literally put his cigarette down to pull the baby out. That's a true story.
That's so old school.
That's a true story.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, he's like smoking. She tells a story because she cracks up because she's like, yeah, he was smoking. He puts the cigarette down in the ashtray. Oh, baby's coming. Pull the baby.
It's crazy to think
different
that.
times, man.
So crazy to think of that.
Yeah.
I think of like the airplanes and shit, dude. Did you imagine being on a plane and like the whole plane smoking?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just horrific.
Yep.
Just a cloud, right?
Dude, just being in Chicago when I first got there, like they hadn't really cracked down on the whole smoking in restaurants and like bars and all that, and so that I just remember being like, oh my God, like I couldn't breathe. Like it just affected me so much just being around that shit.
What I find hilarious though is how fast public perception will change, but then it's also not like and here's an example. Like if you're walking down the street in San Jose or San Francisco and you're smoking a cigarette, you're going to get dirty looks as you walk by people, right?
Yeah.
People are going to look at you like, oh, put that away. Like go smoke somewhere. You walk by people smoking a joint, nobody's going to say anything to you. Yeah, it's like, oh, that's cool. That's weed.
Now.
Yeah,
How funny is that?
That was 10 years ago. It wasn't like that.
No, it wasn't.
10 years ago, it wasn't like that at all. No, people would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, but how funny is that? You know, it's so different now.
It is. And we got to remember, too, for here, it's probably not like that still in a lot of places. Someone's listening right now going, like, it's definitely not like that over here. Like,
there's lots of stigma.
Yeah, because I remember when I was first getting into the cannabis clubs and I became really comfortable around it, that I would smoke in public and people would be with me and they'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, well, I just had a dinner. I want to take 2 little puffs of this. What's the big deal? Like, well, we're out in pub. We're outside in pub. I'm like, so was someone going to see me?
Smell it for
get
miles.
arrested for a joint? Like, that's not going to happen right now. Like, they got better things to do.
Did you know? Speaking of which, did you know Mexico? If I'm not mistaken, their Supreme Court essentially legalized marijuana over there.
Mexico.
So I guess there was a case that went to the Supreme Court. Maybe Doug can look this up. And now Mexico has essentially decriminalized marijuana, and I guess they're on the path towards recreational legalization.
What's that going to do to all the cartels?
Well, you've got Mexico. Well, they bring their drugs over here, but you have Mexico, which I think is now moving towards that. Canada just recreationally legalized it.
Yep.
So we're now surrounded, right? You got the north and the south, so we're next.
Yeah.
Dude,
it's taking us so long.
Did you guys see that judge? I saw this on Huffington Post, it was Huffington Post. I think I read this on. It just went up yesterday or today. The judge that got arrested, he originally got arrested for beating his wife, and then a year later, he's being arrested like today because she was murdered, and he tried to flee the scene. Yeah, Google judge attempts murder or murders wife. See what pops right up. I'm sure it'll come right up as it's new.
Is this like a local state judge or
I don't know. Like, see, the article didn't. I don't think the article said where he was.
That's crazy.
Would you?
Ohio judge arrested in connection with death. Yeah, he's a county judge. That's craisn't it weird how some people could be so successful and intelligent, but then be so dysfunctional?
That's why I brought it up. You were talking about court and these people. And I think, man, I saw that article, and to me, it wasn't newsworthy to talk about. But because you said that, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, man, that's so crazy to me how someone could get that far up our chain of someone who makes decisions over people's lives.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how does somebody of that character make it that way? Because I don't know.
There had to be signs along the way, right?
Well, yeah, he was obviously. I'm sure he was thrown off once he got arrested for beating his wife, and he beat him in front of his kids and shit, and that's how he got
coward.
Busted. Yeah, just
cowards.
But how does someone get into that big? That's a huge role. Like like being a judge, like you've been doing a lot of shit in the system for a long time before you make it to that level, right? I mean, you don't just get appointed a judge out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I think it might highlight a little bit of a fallacy that if somebody is successful in one realm, we automatically assume that they're really good, successful, smart, balanced people. Like this happens with celebrities all the time.
Yeah.
You'll ask somebody about a celebrity, like, hey, what do you think of, Will Ferrell, or what do you think of whoever? Oh, fucking love that guy. Such a great guy. As if they know him and as if he's, going to be intelligent and a lot of other things.
But behind closed doors, he's like some asshole or some shit.
Right. Addicted to drugs and totally dysfunctional, whatever. Yeah. So, kind of.
To be honest, when you talk about celebrities, it's, in my experience, and again, of course, this is just my own personal experience. Somebody else could have had a different one. It's more often than not that. It's more often that they were super talented, whether it be musically or acting or something like that that's made them, or an artist that's made them just extra special in that area, but then they're dysfunctional in other parts of their life. And normally it's just weird how we balance out as humans like that sometimes, where you just, if you're super brilliant, then you're like super socially awkward, or it's rare that you meet like this brilliant, charismatic. And when we see that, we see companies like Apple happen. You know what I'm saying? When you see brilliance and someone with,
it's almost like you have only so many resources and you have to allocate them, accordingly. So if you're like going to be the best, you have to like take away.
It points to the video game thing that we always talk about.
Yeah,
like
totally, the bars.
Yes, like the speculating, like we're in this simulated thing and we're a video game, and it's like, okay, Adam, you have intelligence, you have work ethic, you have this, you have artistry, you have athleticism.
Where are you going to allocate your points?
Yeah, you have 100 points. Where are you going to put them? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and before the game
super
starts,
asthmatic. You're and really lethargic.
And somebody goes, "Fuck, I'm going all in on artistry." You know what I'm saying?
Everything else is zero.
Yeah, I'm going all in on athletic, and then they're just fucking shit everywhere else.
It makes you wonder.
There's going to be a lot of times of darkness.
Well, high intelligence is correlated with mental illness. We've known that for a little while. And when you look at, for example, the two genders, male and female, men make up a disproportionate percentage of people on either end of the spectrum, both the super high achievers, but also the fucking crazy lunatic.
You're tilting on the edge.
Yeah.
You're right on the edge.
I think what it is average is safe. Mm-hmm. And going outside of average, it's kind of like you could be super smart, super intelligent, or we could fuck up and be super crazy.
Your deficiencies get highlighted a lot more.
Well, don't you think like part of brilliance is this like almost manic side of you about something like that's?
I think so.
Like when people are brilliant, they're rarely just like gifted in that. What's caused that brilliance is the restlessness in their brain.
Hyper focused.
Yes, the restlessness in their brain about a subject, a topic, a sport. It could be anything like that, but you're obsessive about it to the point to where it's probably not very beneficial in many other aspects of your life, but it has. And it's funny that that we all naturally aspire to that. Yeah. Isn't that fascinating to you? We really do. Like,
we value it because it's important. It's important for society. I mean, it's the brilliant people that make the breakthroughs. It's the brilliant people that do the things that really transform societies in positive ways. It's also
it's almost like they sacrifice their life for the greater good of humanity, right? Yeah, yeah. It's like you spent your whole life obsessing over getting to space, which has served us as all of us as humans, as a race, right? But it's crazy to think how much
torment a lot of those people have. A lot of them are very, very tormented.
That's what I mean. They're sacrificing for us.
When I watched the interview with Rogan and Elon Musk, there were moments where he's kind of saying like, "You don't want to be in my head." And I almost feel like, oh, this guy's a little bit tormented.
Yeah,
he probably doesn't sleep much. Probably doesn't see his family that often, and he can't shut off. And that's got to be torment.
There's probably a longing too. He has to be a little more balanced.
Exactly.
So
this quaz brought to you by Organifi. For those days you fall short on getting your organic veggies or whole food nutrition, Organifi fills the gap with laboratory-tested certified organic superfoods to help give your health and performance the added edge. Try Organifi totally risk-free for 60 days by going to Organifi.com. That's ORGANIFI.com. And use the coupon code MINDPUMP for 20% off at checkout. First question is from Prime and Glory. What is the furthest you have regressed a client for a particular movement, such as a squat or overhead press? Would having them perform movements in a pool be beneficial to those with extreme limitations?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you have access to it. Pools are great if you have access to them.
Have you guys ever trained somebody in a pool? I've never done it.
I've never trained somebody in the pool, but I've trained for speed using the pool.
Really? You guys never. Well, I guess because you ran a super sport, so I would think you would. We had always every gym.
But what a pain in the ass is why I never did. Because you got to go get your bathing suit on.
That's a commitment.
Oh no! So what I would do? So I would train outside of the pool, but they would be inside the pool, and so I would perform the movement and have them do things in there. Obviously not. It would be more ideal for me to be in the pool with them, but the way I did it was like an early morning client, and typically like the 5 or 6 a.m. person I could do that with when the pool was almost dead, and then I could go in there and I could have them do certain exercises. Yeah, no, what a great resource, especially somebody who's had like a major injury and they're just coming. That's a great place to rehab people, right?
Yeah, the thing I love most about resistance training is its versatility. I can modify it. There's pretty much an indefinite amount of ways that I could modify resistance training for people. I mean, I've worked with people who have been partially paralyzed and had major injuries. I've worked with some of the worst mobility issues you could imagine. Yeah. And it's literally, I had a client once who, had suffered a stroke, actually a relatively young man who's in his 30s. And some of our workouts consisted of him sitting in a chair and me having a balloon, and I'd throw the balloon at him and he'd pop it over with one hand and then he'd pop it over with the other hand. And we're just training hand-eye coordination and just training movement. I've done it where I'll have a client sit on a bench or in a chair, and all they're doing is lifting one knee off the floor and then putting it down and then lifting the other knee off the floor. I mean, you can regress somebody as far as you need to, really. You can even have somebody sit on a bench and just push down on the floor without lifting themselves. Just activate the muscles that help them stand up. Yeah.
I've sat people on just sitting them on a stability ball and then having them make circles with their hips. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of endless things that I can think of that you could do. I think
that arm bike too. I used to have this client that had MS. Like, just every little tiny movement mattered.
Yeah. What was the name of that bike? By the arm bike, it was a. I can't remember.
I forget, but I loved it for rehabilitative clients.
It was designed for wheelchair.
Yeah. You know why I used to use it? I used to use it for myself because I saw the fucking Russian use it in Rocky 4. Oh my god. Yeah. And I thought it was simulating like hitting a punching bag. So I was like, cool.
I see.
I used to use it to warm up shoulders every once in a while.
Did you really?
But yeah, you could. I mean, I think it. Here's the thing: if I ever had to ask, or I was like, if I had a client that just hired me, and I'm looking at him or her, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know what they could possibly do. I go as far back as I need to. I'd always rather lean on the side of like, this is safe, they can do this, before I would try something like handing them dumbbells or a barbell or doing something like that. And I've had lots of clients, like you're saying, Sal. I've had clients, the whole entire session was like me just having her get up and down from a chair.
Yeah.
Sitting, and me holding her hand.
The point is, you can always do something. Yeah. Like if they got to the gym, like, you can do something with them and it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, they mentioned squat and overhead press. I'll give you a good one for overhead press because that was towards the end of my personal training career. I started training a lot of people in advanced age. It was just something I enjoyed doing. I got a lot of challenge out of it, and I also got a lot of reward out of it. And one of the mobility issues that become common as people age, especially deconditioned individuals, is their inability to reach up above their head. And I would focus on this, not just because it's an important, function of the shoulder joint, but because it's an important movement
skill.
It's a daily skill. Like, if you're 75 years old and you lose the ability to really reach above your head, well, now you've lost the top two shelves in your kitchen.
And you're dependent on somebody else to get things for you.
You have a tough time putting on your shirt and you can't. And so that was always something that I would focus on because I'd say, okay, well, you need to be able to reach up above your head, just like you need to be able to walk and sit down and get up by yourself.
Yeah. And
so one thing that I would do, and here's a great regression, is first off, you want to test and see if there's any limitations in mobility because of pain or impingement or actual joint problems. And so all you do is you take the person's arm while they're sitting down, and what I would do is I'd stand behind them, and I'd place my hip on their back to give them support, because what will happen when you pull their arm up is they're going to try and lean back just because they don't have the mobility. So I'd place my hip against their back so they have something to lean up against. I'd take their arm, I'd tell them to relax, and then I'd see if I could stretch their arm up above their head. If I could do that relatively well, or if it was just a little tight because muscles were tight, then I knew that, okay, we could totally work with the strength. We could really try and build strength to improve this person's mobility. If I move the arm up and then they like, oh, it hurts my shoulder, then I know that there's something else I'm dealing with. But more often than not, it wouldn't hurt them. They were just tight, and if they were relaxed, I was able to get the arm up above their head, but they wouldn't be able to do it on their own. They just couldn't do it. So here's a great regression for somebody with that kind of an issue. I'd grab a broomstick, I'd have them hold on with both arms in front of them. Then I'd grab the ends of the broomstick and I'd pull it up above their head so they kind of hang on to the stick. And I would have them pull down just a little bit. That downward pull actually opens up the shoulder joint a little bit. Then I'd hold it at the top, and then I'd say, okay, now what I want you to do is try and hold your arms up here and let go of the stick. And then they'd let go of the stick, and all of a sudden they'd be able to create some tension in a portion of range of motion they didn't have before.
Now, I did a lot of these things when we were training. But with the knowledge that I have now, if I were to go back, and I think almost everybody that I can think of that I did all these kind of real basic moves with, I could almost live in Prime Pro.
Dude, just cars for each one of these joints.
Right. I think that right there is one of the most beneficial things that you can do with a majority of people when you first get them, and that's a majority. Very few people, I think, should not at least start in that area. And so if I was starting training today, and I had all the knowledge from my past experiences and the certification stuff that we've been through now, almost everybody, in my opinion, would fit the category of, if I have to really regress this person, what we're going to do is we're just going to look at every major joint in the body, and we're going to try and get them reconnected and that operating correctly.
Yeah, and I think too, like, using tools, very helpful still to kind of provide that kind of a feedback. So like I would use sticks and I would use, cable machine and props and things to be able to get them into a range that they saw, oh, wow, I can get here. So it's almost like it builds a belief system. And then once you get that belief system, we go and we work on, attaching yourself to that. And so to do what Sal said, though, as far as like having them, let go, but now squeezing and trying to maintain that range of motion, that's everything. That's all part of that, intrinsic force production.
Here's an easy regression for squats for somebody who has really bad mobility or strength issues. An easy one is to teach them how to sit down and stand up. And first you can have them use their hands as support, and then you can progress them to being able to sit down and stand up without holding on to something. And then from there, physio ball squats with the ball up against the wall. Very basic, easy movement. You could do short ranges of motion at first, and little by little increase the ranges of motion. They're leaning up against the physio ball. The physio ball is kind of in the small of their back. Their feet are away from it. And you can stand next to them to support them.
One of the best props, right? Because now you can guide their spine where you want it and to go down in that certain angle. So it's a very helpful feedback. So they get that immediate feedback of what they're doing.
One thing that never ceased to amaze me, every single time I trained somebody over the 20 years that I trained clients where they had lots of limitations, never ceased to amaze me how much they would change and improve. It was always mind-blowing every single time, where I'd look at this person who 6 months ago, was walking with a cane or couldn't reach above their head or couldn't sit down without assistance, is now doing full range of motion physio ball squats against the wall. I mean, I would see stuff like that all the time. Now on a day-to-day basis, it's a slow progression. But when you would look at it over 6 months or a year, it got to the point where I would take pictures or I would take video, or I'd write things down, because then I'd tell the client, hey, you remember 6 months ago you could barely lift your arm up above their head? And sometimes they wouldn't even believe me. Oh no, I was able to reach above my head. And I'd show them the video and be like, watch this.
No, one thing I
would
know
trip them out.
In terms of squat that I would do if I was to go back and just start immediately doing this instead to regress would be to elevate the heel substantially. And to provide one of those half foam rolls underneath, which I've been doing actually with clients, like where knees are an issue, hips are an issue. Like there's just limitations that are already there, but to have them see that immediately this is one thing, because of your ankles, like this is one of those things that this is the limitation. And see now there's no pain. Whoa, there's no restriction. Like that's an immediate like aha for them. So.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do, even when people are injured. I mean, I remember when I dislocated my kneecap when I was 13 really bad. And I had to wear this straight leg brace for a while. And then after that, I wore this knee brace with the hinges on either side. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. And, I would go to school and I'd wear this fucking knee brace. And luckily the style was big baggy pants.
Dude.
But it was like it never felt stable. I would do the physical therapy exercises, which helped a little bit. And finally, one day I got fed up. And I went to the gym because I was already working out my upper body. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to just do some leg press. I'm going to do some weight, even though they told me not to. I'm going to do some weight, and I'm just going to be very careful. Within a matter of weeks, my leg was almost back to normal. Yeah. Weeks. Yeah. It was like, I remember as a 13-year-old being like, people need to know about this.
Movement is therapy.
Yeah. It makes that big of a difference. Same thing with my shoulder surgery. It was supposed to take me 3 months before I could lift weights like I was before. Within 6 weeks, I was doing it.
Yeah.
I've seen this time and time again with clients. Doesn't matter their age, the progression. But the key is you have to, I think what you said earlier is something we don't want to skimp over, which is it's better to go too easy than it is to go too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So err on the side of safety and ease when you're dealing with someone with mobility 100%. Issues.
I would literally take like this person, if we're talking about squatting or hard pressing, I would be 90-90 and reach, roll, lift. Mm-hmm. Those movements, because reach, roll, lift, even somebody who's 80 years old can't get she can walk herself down into that position to where using the floor to guide her to get her hands with it, and then all you're trying to do is get her to lift those arms up in that elevated position with the hands above the head, and if you need to, you can assist them and then have them
hold it.
Try and hold it
one at a time.
One exactly. Just waking that all up in there and making sure that he or she can even do that. And then 90-90, and the goal would be to get to a 90-90. Now, I might have to use yoga blocks because somebody may be that deconditioned that they can't even get into a 90-90, which that right there is super obvious to me that if he or she can't even get into a 90-90, then fuck, okay, well, I definitely shouldn't be loading them with a squat. Mm-hmm. Like, let's live there and get them working in that area. You'll get progress from that.
Exactly.
I know they're not going to get a burn. They're not going to get a huge sweat from it. Although, I'll tell you what, if you do the Prime Pro movements right with good intent, it's a workout.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
You get a good sweat going.
In fact, you should go into it with that because it is an intensity-based thing. We want the intent is to be intense and connect that way. So it could actually be an incredible workout for a lot of people.
All right, next question is from Ian Murley 92. From the first half to the second half of your careers, what was the biggest change in how you train clients that made the biggest difference?
Oh, easy. This is easy for me. Yeah. There's a lot of changes I made, by the way. I'm going to be clear. It wasn't one change. I made a lot of changes from the early days of my personal training career towards the end. But one of the biggest ones was that when I first started training people, it was all about getting them sore and making them sweat a lot. It was like, I'm going to make this person have, my idea of a great workout was a hard workout. And so when I'd get clients, it was about, I'm going to make you sore. I'm going to make you feel this. You're going to feel all your muscles ache. You're going to sweat. My job is to motivate you and make you pumped up and excited. And that's what I thought was good training. The second half of my career, I realized that was not only a less effective approach, but it was an entirely ineffective approach. I realized that intent was more important and that I needed to train people appropriately, not just because you can hurt them or not just because it's too hard, but really because the body actually responds better and faster. They get better and faster results if I train them appropriately. So I'll give you an example of what a workout would look like in the first half of my career versus the second half. So let's say I got a new client and this is like year one as a personal trainer. And this person's coming to me and they're like, I want to lose weight and I want to get in shape. And I'm like, what part of the body's, what part of your body do you want to focus on? And, let's say it's a female and she's like, oh, it's my legs. I really want to work on my legs. And she has no history of exercise. Here's what the first workout would look like. Lunges, leg press, leg curls, leg extension, some kind of a jump squat, and then I'd have them do some crazy shit on an elliptical or something with sprints. I'm not even exaggerating.
It's a total workout.
100%.
Sure.
Like,
pretty
legs?
sure I wrote that.
Yeah.
Workout.
Legs is your target. No problem. I'm gonna fuck you up.
I got some legs for you.
Yeah, and that's what I would do.
She's gonna know I worked her legs.
Yeah. Now here's what it would look like second time around.
Your legs are done.
Here's what it would look like if I trained the person after about 5, 6, 7 years or 10 years of training someone. They'd come in, same goal, same everything. It'd be an assessment, correctional exercise, 90-90. We may do one leg exercise, but really it's going to be at like super moderate intensity. I'm going to throw in some stuff for her posture. I'm going to throw in a few things for her core just to activate. And then she's going to leave and she's probably going to say something like, I really don't feel
my
like
legs
I worked
weren't
out.
really sore.
Yeah, I really don't feel like I worked out that hard. And then I have to explain what's going on.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally and completely different.
Yeah, I think for me, like it was assuming that people could do all these things, but I just had to coach them better on it. Like I had to just give them better coaching cues and like work my way through these movements as they were, performing them. What a fucking disaster that was. Like just trying to see all like that's where it was really eye-opening to me. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing with, like, I would get mad at them. Like, what are you doing with your arm? You're like, why is it going this way? And like, what are your knees? Like, no, keep them straight. And like trying to like, hold their knees together, and like trying to like, it was all reactive, you know?
Being somebody who's managed so many trainers, like that's such a common reaction to all my athlete trainers.
Yes,
because
I was that guy.
Because you have been in the athletic world since you were a kid, and you've picked up mechanics and form and technique, and you're around other athletes who have the same thing. Then all of a sudden you get this grown ass man or woman, and they can't fucking squat, and you're like, what the fuck?
It just baffled me. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like we have months to train still, like so.
I'm telling you to keep your elbow in and it's out.
Yeah, it's out.
I'm telling you what to do.
Understand? Did you understand that I said that? Yeah. Like you get like mad at them.
Then you're showing them. Like,
I'm
this
like,
is what it's supposed to look like.
100%. And that was half of my training. Was like I was always demonstrating, like every single time. I'm demonstrating. What like. Guarantee there's still trainers out there like that. They're just like, wait, hold on, this is how you do it. And it's like they're trying to mirror that to them. Like that fucking works, So anyway, so my new approach, like later on, once I got smarter and realized, like, oh my God, okay, like you have to really understand like where they're at and like how do we find all this information. So you have to really do a diligent job of assessing and gathering all this information ahead of time. Same thing with nutrition. I was like terrible about just, okay, well, I'm going to determine everything you're doing. You're going to be eating this. You're going to do this. I'm going to throw away all your shit.
God,
I'm going to put my shit in there.
Oh, I used to go. There was special clients. You signed up for like 6 months or a year with me.
Oh, I did the same.
I go to their house.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been to their. I'd go to their house, clean their cupboards out, do all that shit. I wasn't going to say that one, but that is actually another.
I totally forgot about that.
Another major game changer for me was I wrote diets the first half of my career.
Meal plans.
Yeah,
like,
wrote meal
this
plans.
is what you're going to eat.
Yeah, you eat this every
we were
fucking
conditioned
day.
to think like that.
Yeah, or go in your car, go in your house, and I would throw everything in the garbage and start all over. That definitely was the first half. The back half, I began to ask them to track and be normal and eat what you're eating. Let me see it, and from there, I coached, and that was a game changer. Game changer to help people that way, and they adhere to it better. Because you're not taking somebody
It's sustainable.
who never had tuna out of the can and never did eggs in the morning and like all of a sudden asking them to do that. Like that person was eating Eggo waffles and never ate tuna.
They're like begrudgingly like eating this food.
And they're asking themselves already like, can I do this for 6 weeks?
What about
I paid this guy for 6 weeks.
What about the early
I
meal
hate
plan?
peanut butter.
I was just gonna say, what about the early meal plans you would write, where I would try and just match
like peanut butter and rice cakes? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, no.
Yeah, I would do stuff like that where I'd be like, oh, we need more fat. I'll just throw in some olive oil. Or I'll just people be like, yeah, Sal, I don't want to eat 4 tablespoons.
This is a weird meal.
Yeah,
but you're trying to get the macros to fit. And you're like,
I don't want to eat 4 tablespoons of peanut butter and a chicken breast.
So that
doesn't make any sense.
That was a big game changer. The other one was I'm like you, Sal. The overuse of intensity was the biggest game changer, and the front half of my career. It was about 6, 7, getting as many days in the gym, blasting you like that as much as I possibly can. The back half of my career, and it was crazy when I put this together, because also in the front half, I would make fun of a trainer that would probably talk like this, where I was asking the client, I only wanted them training like 3 days a week, splitting their bodies up, now telling them I don't want any of this high-intensity work. I want them to do steps. Steps was a game changer for me. Managing to people's steps, like when the wearables came out, and back then it was Body Bugs, like it just made me such a better trainer, because now I could peer into the other
You're
60,
considering their lifestyle now.
right? Like now I'm looking at, and there's such a huge variance. Some clients are fucking lazy as shit. They never break 2,000 steps a day, or they are always in cars in front of desks because of that. Yeah. Or the other extreme, where I've had people that are just maniacs. They walk and move all over, and like the way you approach those two people is completely different, right? And they're also going to be in different places metabolism-wise because of that. So that gave me a whole new perspective that I never took into consideration in the front half of my career. And so now, instead of putting so much energy and focus on the 60 minutes that I had them and I was going to crush them for their workout, I actually began focusing on their movement and activity outside of seeing me. And what was great was it was so easy. It's like just by telling them, hey, this week I want you to get X amount of steps. Make sure you never have less than this many days. Go for a walk if you have to. Walk at lunch. And then what people don't realize is that's, week over week over week, I'm creating a caloric deficit. So I'm not even really having to manipulate their food very much. I'm not having to increase their intensity in their training very much. I'm just getting them to add these walks in through their week, and they're starting to drop pounds of fat, and they're loving you like you're this magician. But it's like, I just have taught them they need to be more aware of their movement during the week.
Yeah, one of the other changes early on was a lot of machines. I'd get a new client, and we would go from machine to machine to machine. We're going to do chest here. We're going to do back here.
Yeah.
We're going to do shoulders here. Oh, legs. And some workouts were entirely made up of machines. The only people that would use free weights would be the people really interested in building muscle, who are maybe younger and wanted to, especially the guys or whatever. Yeah. But it was a lot of machines. The back half of my career, no machines, ever. Almost never would I use a machine. In fact, my personal training studio, the only machine that I had were cables. Yeah. And everything we did in there involved either free weights or your body or a stick or bands, and that was it. And we were far more successful in terms of getting people, good results and getting people's bodies to feel better and progress. That was a huge one for me. I remember when I got my studio and I was thinking, my partner at the time was like, do you want to buy any machines? I'm like, for what? Yeah. There's really no use for them whatsoever.
Next question is from Red Bell Review. What are your best strategies for accountability for someone who isn't naturally self-disciplined?
Cattle prod.
Cattle prod.
Yeah. When from a personal trainer standpoint for clients, and then I can give you what I guess I actually can extend this to myself and to everyone else. But what I figured out a long time ago as a personal trainer was most people are not fitness fanatics, and most people will never become fitness fanatics. So we're going to talk about accountability in the context of fitness. That was a realization for me. Like, okay, most people are never going to just love to work out all the time like I do. It's just not going to happen. The people that do are already in the gym working out all the time or work in fitness. Most people aren't going to do that. And so I realized I need to make this session or every session that this person comes in enjoyable. Mm-hmm. And part of that was the workout. Part of it was they're getting good results and they're feeling good. And the other part of it, and I hate to say it, clients I had clients that would show up because they like to hang out with me, and then we'd work out. While they would come in. And that kept people very accountable because people would show up because they would look forward. It's really no different than when you were a kid and you had classes and then there was that one teacher that you really liked to fucking listen to and whatever, and they made whatever subject really fun. And so kind of default, you learned a lot of that subject.
I think that's the most effective in terms of my own understanding as well, and going through the process of trying to keep clients motivated, accountable, and you get swept into this whole momentum side of it. Well, they're so motivated right now, and let's get it in as much as possible, and then you just pour all this stuff on them at once. And the most effective thing that once I started realizing that. I'm not feeding into that momentum of, oh my God, I'm going to get rid of this 10 pounds and I'm going to do this. And I just, okay, that's great. But it was all just about the consistency. It was about, I will see you tomorrow. And it's like the expectation of I'm here, you're going to be here, and, we're going to have a good time. And it's an environment that's inviting, and it's not like we're focusing on like hammering this fat off or whatever.
This was the difference between training clients for, when I first became a trainer, I'd have clients that would stay with me for 3 months, 6 months, sometimes a year. A year was a long time when I first became a trainer. If you had a client that stayed with you for a year or longer or 2 years, my God, everybody was like, that's crazy. Yeah. Towards the end of my career, my average client was with me for 8 years plus, and I had many clients that had been with me for more than 10 years. And the big difference was that enjoyment. They would come in and they'd love to meet with me and to do these things. And that was a big part of it. And if you think about this for yourself, this is where we can extend this to everything else. If you can find something about the thing you're trying to become accountable towards, if you can find something about it that's enjoyable, revolve your perception around that. Like if you can find something about your job enjoyable, or something about the chores around the house enjoyable, or something about the workout that you're doing enjoyable, and focus on that, you're going to probably want to do it. I mean,
it's a goal setting issue. Almost every time I have something like this with a client and with myself personally, it's a goal setting issue. I'm setting my goal too high, too far. And it takes an incredible amount of self-discipline to say, I'm going to do something like become a millionaire or get down to 3% body fat. That could take a fucking long time. It takes a lot of discipline. If you're somebody who thinks you don't have self-discipline, maybe the reason why you feel that way is because you set a goal that's going to take some serious consistency and time before you reach it. Don't set a goal that high. Start off with, I want to eat well for 5 days. I want to make it to the gym 3 times this week. Like, set really small, obtainable goals so you're always winning. I think that's where people have a tough time is they set a big, massive goal. I want to lose 50 pounds. And then they start on that journey. Well, that's a fucking 6 month to a year long journey. And when you get depressed and down and a hard day, whatever, or you see the scale go up for some reason, that really fucks with a lot of people. And then it may make them feel like they don't have self-discipline, so they have to quit. But more often than not, it's because you're setting your sights too high. And I know that's because of the message that we've been given for so long. Shoot for the stars, land on the moon. It's like, no, fuck that. Like, literally just get out the door. Head in the right direction. Set your goals like obtainable so that you're crushing goals week over week over week, and then you won't feel like you're not a self-disciplined person because you only got to discipline yourself for 2 more meals. You've never done, 15 good meals in a row. Like, when was the last time you set a goal that simple? Like, keep track of, and I do this. I do this with myself all the time. Point, when I get back in the swing of if I've fallen off track for a little while and I've fallen off the rails and I'm making poor choices eating wise, and I catch myself, and I know I haven't strung together 2 good days of eating in a while, and I could say that, like, wow, when was the last time I had 2 really good days of eating and training? That's the goal now. That is, even as long and as experienced as I am, I don't set a crazy goal where I need to be. I go, hey, Adam, get 2 good days together. 2 good days, and I go, let's go for a third. Oh shit, I fucked up. That's okay. I've already set 3. I've never done 3 days in the last month and a half of consistency. So I fucked up for a day. Now I go back. Now the new goal is 4 days. And I just keep stretching myself a little bit like that. And yeah, then it doesn't feel like you're not self-disciplined because you always end up giving up. Well, you're giving up on the huge goal. Set smaller goals and crush them.
Yeah, and the goals, that's an excellent point. The goals should be challenging, but they should also be something that you can do. I mean, they both have to happen, right? It's got to be a goal that you challenge yourself a little bit. Otherwise, it's not worth anything. It doesn't mean anything to you. It's not really a goal, right? But it needs to be something that you can do, and that may just mean, like Adam said, get up and walk out the door.
Right.
It may mean have a glass of water today. It may mean, eat 1 serving of vegetables or, eat 1 less cookie.
Yeah.
It may mean that stuff, but,
it's gotta be realistic.
However small the degree of change you make is, the further down the path you go, the bigger that change becomes.
Right.
If I take 2 parallel lines and I move 1 degree to the right, we travel down that, down those lines for 100 miles, and those 2 things are gonna be so far apart you can't even see one from the other one, even though it's only 1 degree of change. And that's how real change or real consistent change happens for the long term.
Next question is from Derek McMullen. What is your overall opinion of the YouTube fitness community?
Now, are they talking about the fitness stars, or are they talking about the guys?
The challenges.
Well, it's the community. I think it's all of it, right? It's all of it. What do you think?
I've never seen as many. Like, YouTube is troll land.
Yeah.
I think it's because you can maintain
I think
anonymity.
There's some people like Athlete X and some people out there that there's some people providing good information, but there's also a whole lot of like stupid shit.
There is. He's actually pretty good. I like him.
Yeah, I like him.
Isn't he a physical therapist?
I love him.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, he's actually legit.
Yeah, if he's probably the go-to page on YouTube if I want anything related to fitness that we don't provide already. Mm-hmm. Like he has solid ass content.
You could tell he understands movement and exercise.
Yeah,
I know he's really good. A lot of the fitness people or personalities on YouTube are the do this, it's fucking awesome, rad, crazy kind of stuff, or check out my crazy hard workout, or look at my
10,000 calories today. Yeah.
I think we're watching it. I think we're a part of the evolution right now of YouTube. It's only been around for how many years now? Has it been 10?
YouTube?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Probably, yeah.
Check it out, Doug.
I would think 10.
About 10 years, right?
About the same time as
and
the iPhone.
We're just now starting to see like your guys' kids, right? Like they don't watch TV. They watch YouTube. Mm-hmm. Like that wasn't something that we're used to. So a lot of why I think it feels like trolls is because there's a lot of 17-year-old, 16-year-old, 15-year-old fucking kids that are talking shit to you. Right. You know, when you think about your little smart ass when you were 15, and if you were smarter than the average kid, like what would you love to do? Get on a page, come talk to a bunch of older, smarter guys about how smarter you are. Like that's
plus it keeps you anonymous, so I can say something and you don't know who I am.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and that's part of the other reason.
Right. So I think we'll see that change as they grow up and it becomes older people that are also utilizing YouTube more. Like I don't know what the demographic breakdown is, but I would assume that it's still dominated by the younger generation as far as the usage of it.
One of the biggest markets on YouTube is for the young generation. It's for little kids.
Right.
If you go on there and watch these videos of people like opening presents and playing with toys and shit like that, and they're like the dumbest videos. Yeah. Tens of millions of views.
It's brilliant.
It's absolutely insane.
It's brilliant that they're capturing that audience now, because if they're smart and they treat it like a TV channel and they evolve it as the kids grow up, you know, and they just have an audience that was originally 3, now they're 7, now they're 12.
I will say this, as much as we're complaining or talking shit about some of the stuff on YouTube, I'll tell you this right now.
It's awesome.
I was in fitness when where you got your information was magazines. That's where you got your information. If you want to learn how to work out and exercise.
Dude, could you imagine how fast you would evolve as a trainer if you had YouTube?
I know.
I mean, back in the days, this is exactly what you do, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but I know this is what you're going to say. Is you literally somebody would come in, they would have a condition, gout. Never heard of gout at this time. You know what I'm saying? First client, and I was very straight up with the client. I'm not familiar with that, but I'll look into it and I'll get back to you. And that was how I learned. Went back, but then you go find a book. You know, maybe the internet's
around. Ask a doctor client.
Internet's around, so we're searching some things and having to read, but not like YouTube. I mean, YouTube, I can almost guarantee I'm going to get a really good response and answer within instantly.
And not just that, like exercise technique. Like when I would look up information in muscle building magazines and fitness magazines, they weren't breaking down how to do a proper squat, how to do a proper deadlift. There was no correctional exercise, information.
You had to
get
that from your certification. That was it. Really.
There was nowhere to get it, and now I can go on YouTube, and for every shitty video, I can find one that's actually pretty damn fucking good with good information, good execution, a great way of communicating it. Yeah. I can't imagine. This is why I think the average trainer is better today than they were when we were training.
Absolutely.
I meet trainers today who've been training for a couple of years, and they're smarter than the trainers were when I was first started. Like the early trainers when I first started, my God, they wouldn't fly today at all. Yeah. And it's just the information is so crazy. Nutrition information is so easy now. You could look up a video and figure out, how to figure out macros.
Now, I also think it has started to divide people and create these camps, which is what I believe we saw as an opportunity when we came into this space, because I didn't think by any means we were the smartest and most talented, but it was these people everyone has a scarcity mindset, or they're creating camps. And that was the one thing that I think we saw like an opportunity that, there's a lot to take from a lot of these modalities, a lot of these messages. Because the information is so fast, what ends up happening, you become a really smart trainer, but then you indoctrinate yourself with like one modality, one way, one belief. And I started to see that, around the surgence of CrossFit coming into the space.
I wonder if
I remember buddies that started to get into that, and then all of a sudden it became very religious. And then I started looking at other modalities. And then as the internet, YouTube, everything grew, I think it felt like it started to divide us even more. So
because I mean there's guys that specialize in certain directions, and whether or not they have a sports science kind of background, and so they address like training in this very specific regard, and then nutritionally, I'm coming from this angle, and this has worked the best with all my clients, so therefore this is what I profess as the answer. And it's just interesting because I think the consumer is really still driving that mentality, because they want sort of the one easy sort of peg that they can fit into.
Well, we love community. We love clicks. Yeah. We've evolved that way. So it's natural.
Yeah. It's also natural. It's also very natural for humans to think that the answer is black and white. So
exactly. It's not.
Yeah. So it's like, I want to get in shape. Kettlebells is the way to do it. That's the best, or this is the best way, and not realizing that there's something to take from all of these modalities. And,
absolutely.
And your best chance at achieving balance and health in longevity in a very real way is to utilize the best of each. I mean, like yoga has got some incredible things that you can pick up from yoga that you're not going to learn from kettlebell training. Kettlebell training is going to have some stuff that you can pick up and learn that you'll never get from powerlifting. Yeah. Powerlifting, and you just go all the way down the line, and the average person is just looking to be fit, healthy, look lean, look really good, and they'll get there much faster if they start to implement. It's almost like martial arts. Martial arts went through this crazy revolution when mixed martial arts competitions came out, because early on it was style versus style. You either did taekwondo, karate, or judo.
That's a great point.
Well, MMA was the ultimate exposure of like what actually worked.
That's it.
Right.
And how has it evolved? At first it turned into, grapplers are winning everything. And then it was, there's some strikers that win. It's the Muay Thai guys. And then it turned into, but now what are you finding? They're taking the best from each and turning it into a style without a style, right?
Which is far superior.
Right.
And I think that's the same thing. That's a great analogy. It applies with fitness and what we're doing.
Yeah, you don't see a whole lot of like praying mantis like flying kicks or anything.
No. I mean? They're taking what works and utilizing it. And what you're finding now with fitness,
that's the same thing though. Like all these fancy moves and this flash and people are understanding now, we don't necessarily, that's not the most effective.
Well, dude, I'll watch like a bodybuilder or a strength athlete do their warm-up, and it's like mobility movements and stuff. Like they never did that shit before. They weren't doing those specific type of mobility movements before. And it's because of the information age. So I mean, personally, I think the YouTube fitness community reflects just the fitness community in general. So you're going to get the crazies, you're going to get the whatever. But never have I been able to see ever the ability to share such good information.
I think we're advancing. I think that just all this access to information now, and we're filtering. It's a filtering process. And I think this is happening on all kinds of different levels where, the dust will settle and then we're going to kind of move forward knowing, a bit more.
The cream will rise to the top. That's what's nice about the way it is structured right now. I love that it's structured that way. You imagine if it was like networks and there was power and control and
we'd just be divided all over the place again.
Yeah, we'd be divided. It'd be corrupt. You wouldn't know what is a good, right message. Where now it's, it's like it's designed like Wikipedia, right? After it's been around long enough, the right answer will be there. And I think that's you got to be playing the long game if you're in YouTube right now.
Look at those statistics right there. This was published on August 4th, 2018. 300 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every single minute. Every minute, there's 300 hours being uploaded. Think about the amount
worldwide
of information that is being stored and compiled just on YouTube
alone.
And
this is what creates AI, man.
Oh, geez, thanks.
This is all it's feeding that.
That's
so
scary.
There we go. Yeah, scare everybody.
Let me remind everybody, 50% off Maps Anywhere, ending in 3 days. You got 3 days left. There's only 3 days left. 50% off. Go to mapswhite.com and use the code WHITE50, WHITE, and the number 50 at checkout. So don't forget to do that. Also, if you go to mapsfitnessproducts.com, you can check out our other Maps programs. And finally, if you just want something for free, you don't want to buy anything, you just want more free, good information, go to
me everything.
Go to mindpumpfree.com.
Thank you for listening to Mind Pump. If your goal is to build and shape your body, dramatically improve your health and energy, and maximize your overall performance, check out our discounted RGB Super Bundle at mindpumpmedia.com. The RGB Super Bundle includes MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Performance, and MAPS Aesthetic. 9 months of phased expert exercise programming designed by Sal, Adam, and Justin to systematically transform the way your body looks, feels, and performs. With detailed workout blueprints and over 200 videos, the RGB Super Bundle is like having Sal, Adam, and Justin as your own personal trainers, but at a fraction of the price. The RGB Super Bundle has a full 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get it now plus other valuable free resources at mindpumpmedia.com. If you enjoy this show, please share the love by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and by introducing Mind Pump to your friends and family. We thank you for your support, and until next time, this is Mind Pump.